Welcome back to the program. Well, Jostradamus strikes yet again. What did I just say? I said the only way Matt Gaetz would not be the Attorney General is one of two ways. Trump pulls his nomination, which I didn't think he would do, or Matt Gaetz withdrew his own nomination, which I'm shocked and surprised that he actually did. But I don't want to hear all this. The sky is falling. We're losing. The insiders are winning. No, that is not the case. Certainly not yet. Okay? I have interesting news, good news all around. I wrote down a lot of notes. I'm doing the show earlier than normal because of Matt Gaetz and his nomination being withdrawn. But I want to just kind of bring one thing up, just as a possibility thought. Okay? Technically, right now, Matt Gaetz is politically homeless. He can't just go, sorry guys, hey, I'd really like to have my seat back. Doesn't work that way. He resigned officially from Congress. So if he wanted his seat back, he'd have to rerun for his seat. And that would be in 2026. So for him, he's politically homeless right now. So for him to withdraw from this position, there has to be an underlying reason, or perhaps a conversation that may have taken place. Now, let's look at the obvious. Obviously, he had this ethics investigation. I changed my thing from F. Joe Biden to this. But we're not going to answer that right now. In the middle of my thought here. What was I saying? So there's two things here, two trains of thought. You have the ethic investigation, but remember, the Department of Justice cleared him. Let me repeat that. They cleared him of any wrongdoing. Okay? That's number one. Number two, the person that I guess was accusing him of whatever crimes it was actually came out and said that he would make a great attorney general and that none of the allegations were true after she was found out to be a liar. There was also the report of the one guy trying to set him up. He's in jail right now for trying to set him up on these very allegations. So Matt Gaetz was innocent. There was no there here, okay? So why did he withdraw? Well, in his own words, and again, I don't quite believe this, he said that it was, quote, becoming too much of a distraction. That sounds more like political Washington speak when you're trying to get out of a situation for whatever reason, and you call up some people and they do, a little group chat and they go, hey, why don't you say this? Nah, why don't we say this? Nah, let's say this instead. Oh, hey, here's a great idea. Let's say this. Okay, let's say that. I don't want to become a distraction to the new administration. Get out of here. Come on, that's not the case. So what could it be then? Well, Matt is from Florida. Matt's district is in northern Florida. Ron DeSantis has to fill Marco Rubio's seat. Is it possible that secret talks have taken place between Matt Gaetz and Ron DeSantis for that seat in January? That's a possibility, isn't it? See, that's why eventually they are going to pay me the big bucks, because that's how I think. But let's talk about some other things here. First and foremost, to me, personally, Matt Gaetz, total shock. If you remember when I did the show, I was like, wow, didn't see that one happening, right? I figured that he's beaten up too much on these deep staters and that he was going to be too controversial. I never even dreamed that he was even going to be the choice, and I'll admit it. My choice was who? Mike Davis. My choice from day one was Mike Davis. And my choice now is certainly Mike Davis. But I have 10 names that I'll go through with you, okay? Number one would be Mike Davis. Mike Davis is the one, if you remember recently, that was on the Bannon show, said that he was going to, quote, put Letitia's fat ass in jail, end quote. You see, I want somebody in the Department of Justice that can look a 60-year-old man in the eye who maybe has failing health, who has been in that position inside Washington for 43 years, never has a worry financially or anything about his job, is just an entrenched deep state administrative state swamp monster, who has used taxpayers like the cockroach, like the tick that they are, and can then go over to that person and say, look, I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you've been here. I don't care if you're dying of cancer. I don't care if you're going to have a heart attack after this conversation. You are fired. Get the f out now. That's the type of mentality. I want someone foaming at the mouth with blood dripping out of it. That's the type of attorney general we need. Okay? I want someone to be able to do that. Just like we have Tom Homan for the border czar. We know that he's no BS. He doesn't care. I'll deport the whole family together, all the relatives, their children and their children. I don't care. That's the type of person we need at DOJ. And that is Mike Davis. 100%. That's why he was my first choice. Now, here's another one. How about Kash Patel? They talked about him for FBI director. He literally said if he was the FBI director, he would go in and fire the entire 7th floor, and then he would go through every single one of the people underneath them, their assistants, and fire all of them, and he would just raise the thing, okay? Like a flamethrower. That's what we need. So why not a Kash Patel to run the Department of Justice? There's your second choice. Third, Ken Paxton, Texas Attorney General. Great guy. Only one, by the way, in 2020 that had the balls big enough to sue and have Texas versus Pennsylvania, if you remember, joined by another 22 other, states or whatever it was, and then of course the, limp-wristed eunuchs on the Supreme Court said that they didn't have standing. But at least he was tough enough to do that. And by the way, he's going to hopefully take down Act Blue. Okay? Act Blue hopefully will be no more. And that is that is the equivalent of win red for the Democrats. How amazing would it be if we got rid of Act Blue and sent all of them into a jail cell for the rest of their lives? So he would be number 3. What about John Eastman? John Eastman, who was defending President Trump during January 6th. They stripped him of his law license, I think in California. He'd be great. He's the one that said that there was precedent for the alternate electors. He was correct on that, and they went after him for that. John Eastman, great choice. Jeffrey Clark works with President Trump right now. Another decent choice. Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani has been decimated under fake charges with people in Georgia that literally helped steal the election, but yet somehow they're going after Rudy Giuliani, taking his mansion, taking his cars, taking his collectibles, taking his antiques, taking his, whatever. How about him? They're going to try to leave him desolate and broke. Well, he needs a good job. He could have some retribution and revenge. Not to mention he's been friends with President Trump for 40 plus years, okay? I mean, they've known each other forever. So you want to talk about loyalty and trust? Rudy Giuliani. Another one, a fan favorite. I even suggested this back in 2016. Judge Jeanine Pirro. I've had her on my show twice. She's tough as nails. She's a great prosecutor. Fox News, whatever. He seems to like these Fox News people, right? Duffy, Hegseth, why not her as well? So again, That would be another choice. Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General of Florida, hardcore MAGA, America First, great Attorney General. She could do it. She's got experience. Hell, you could even put Jim Jordan in the conversation. I know Jim Jordan is a good litigator as far as like questioning people and things like that. But is he too establishment? Maybe a little bit. But maybe if he had power for once, maybe instead of just mental masturbating, he would actually be able to do something. But then again, we saw that with Trey Gowdy, and he ended up being nothing but a quote-unquote jerk-off mental masturbation. Josh Hawley from the Senate, Missouri Senator. He'd be great. He could do it. I wanted him for majority leader, to be quite honest. Ted Cruz. There's another name for you. Solicitor General, has argued in front of the Supreme Court, knows the law inside and out, great debater, has been a good conservative for many years. Ted Cruz. So what I'm trying to tell you folks is there's still a lot of really good talent out there. The sky is not falling, okay? That's what I want to stress to you. Now, Mike Davis. Why Mike Davis? Why am I so, hot on Mike Davis? Well, I can give you a couple of reasons. But one of them is based on, if I can find it, I know I do this to you all the time. Where's my my video? Here it is. It's on this other website here, so let me get to that. Mike Davis, to me, would be phenomenal. Mike Davis has experience. While I'm going and looking for that, where is it? Mike Davis. Where are you, Mike? Boy, these things are updating left and right. There's so much going on. Come on, Mike, where are you? Mike Davis was a clerk for Neil Gorsuch. He has a ton of experience in Washington. Already on the second page, my goodness. Come on, where are you, Mike? You know what? Maybe it's actually on this other website. I thought it was on this one. Hang on, we'll get there. Why am I not prepared, right? That's what you're wondering? I know. Because I do this stuff all the time. Where is it? Here it is. Is this it? Bannon's message? Oh, no, there it is. Whoop. This is good, too. But we'll get to that in a second. Mike Davis, where are you? Just saw it. Where are you, Mike? Here it is. Okay, this is important. I want people to listen to this. There's probably going to be a million weird commercials first, so let me... Yeah, figures there was. So let me get past these commercials. But I want you to listen to him talking to Steve Bannon and the things that he's talking about. This guy is the number one choice for me.
What's the status of people taking this seriously? Because...
Okay, so what he's talking about in this clip is Republicans are sitting out right now, and the Democrats are just bombarding these judges, these radical extreme judges. These are judges that no one wanted. They couldn't get confirmed. They're nothing but terrible, just radical extremists. And now, what are they doing? What is Chucky Schumer doing? While Republicans are out, doing whatever they're doing and not in Washington, he's putting these judges on the court. And someone like Mike Davis is not only recognizing it, but he's doing something about it. He's an activist. That's another reason why I really like him. So Bannon is talking to Mike Davis about what's happening.
Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren's taking it very seriously. They understand you got to get these judges jammed through. President Trump is taking it seriously. He put out a Truth Social and say, hey, all hands on deck, everybody back to D.C. I want to see everybody manned up on these votes. What's the current status, the situation report, and are we making any progress in getting senators to the ramparts, sir?
We are making progress, Steve. Remember, the American people voted on November 5th in an overwhelming fashion for President Trump and Senate Republicans to appoint constitutionalist judges to the federal judiciary and to stop President Biden and Senate Democrats' radical left-wing judges from getting appointed to these lifetime positions. And in this lame duck session, the Democrats are doing everything they can to jam through these radical left-wing judges. These are the bottom of the barrel. These are the worst of the worst radicals. And so long as Senate Republicans show up to the Senate floor, use all the debate time, and be there for votes, we can stop these judges. It is so critically important that Senate Republicans do this. Not only show up, but force debate on these judicial nominees. And the War Room Posse has lit a fire under these Senate Republicans' asses. We've got their attention. We've got them showing back up and doing their job, and we're going to start making serious progress. We have a whole bunch of Biden-Kamala judicial nominees who are, again, the bottom of the barrel. They're going to get worse and worse and worse. And this is why go into article3project.org, article3project.org, take action. And on the top right of that take action page, so you take action, you go to the top right, and it tells you to tell both of your home state senators to stop these lame duck lifetime judicial confirmations of these bottom of the barrel judicial nominees. They are the most radical of them all. So long as Senate Republicans show up, do their job, debate, we're going to be able to stop these. This is really important. We're already seeing huge numbers through the Article 3 project of the War Room Posse who have gone through and made phone calls, sent emails, and posted on social media. And this has really gotten their attention. We did this with Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation. We've done this with other matters. This is very effective when the War Room Posse, the most powerful force on the right, calls, emails, lights up on social media their home state senators.
Real quickly, you were Gorsuch's guy, his clerk. You helped get Gorsuch through. You helped get Kavanaugh through. You know how it is to Sherpa these the Supreme Court guys through. Gorsuch was the believer and the intellectual architect of the legal process to start to deconstruct the administrative state, led by the Chevron deference.
The Chevron deference. What did I say in my speech the other night, right? I talked about the reason that DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency, can actually operate. I said in that speech is because of the repeal of the Chevron doctrine. Well, even Bannon now understands exactly what we're talking about here. And that is the reason why DOGE can be successful. So I wanted to point that out. That was Josh Stradamus 2.0, by the way.
State led by the Chevron deference. Talk to me just quickly. Give me a minute on why these frontline, particularly the district court federal judges, are so important in our efforts to deconstruct the administrative state. Why do we have to fight to keep these slots open for President Trump when he comes in, sir?
These are critically important. The Supreme Court only takes about 100 cases on its merits docket every year. Everything else is decided by the lower federal courts.
The Supreme Court takes about 100 cases. There are thousands upon thousands of cases filed every single year. The Supreme Court only takes about 100. So if Biden has an opportunity to stuff these 12 or 14 leftover losers into lifetime appointments, and the Supreme Court punts and doesn't take a lot of these cases, then that means that these radical extremists will be able to stop parts of President Trump's agenda. This is really, really important. After he's done speaking, I'll tell you a little bit more.
The federal appellate courts, the circuit courts, are the last stop for more than 99% of federal appeals, and these district court judges are so critically important in finding facts on these cases that put them in the right procedural vehicle for the appellate courts to rule the right way. These federal judges are critically important, particularly the circuit court judges, and this is why it's so important for the War Room Posse to light up their home state senators and tell them to show up and vote hell no on these bottom of the barrel Biden radicals for these lifetime appointments to the federal bench.
There it is. Okay? Now, I've talked a lot about a website in the past, and you've written it down and you've used it. It was called contactmypoliticians.com. Gone. It doesn't exist anymore. I don't know what happened to it. I'm assuming the left went after it and they shut it down. That's probably what happened. So, Contact My Politicians, garbage. It's gone forever. It doesn't exist. So, I did some more research, and I think there's an even better one out there. Why? Well, the reason is because it's nonpartisan and it is only solely based on the government. And it's actually titled USA.gov. Real simple. USA.gov. 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 Write it down, put it in your phone, keep it, whatever, okay? When you go on it, you scroll down a little bit and you'll see senators, congressmen. Click on either one for the House or the Senate and put in your information, put in for your state. Boom, everything's right there. And you click on the senator and it takes you off the website and it brings you directly to their state site, which has not only their Washington contacts, but all of their state offices as well. Let me tell you something. Get on the phones now, right now, immediately, and tell these Republican senators to get their asses back in D.C. to stop these judges. It has to be immediate. That's why I'm not waiting till later tonight to do this show. I'm doing it now because it is that pressing. So I'm going to get this up as soon as I'm done recording it, and I want people to take action as soon as humanly possible. I want you to call their local offices. I want you to call their regular office in D.C. I want you to find them on X. I want you to find them on Twitter or Facebook. I want you to locate where they are, and I want you to send them all the exact same message. Please go back to Washington immediately to stop these radical, extreme leftist judges from being appointed. That's it. Please stop. Please go back to Washington, D.C. and stop these radical, extreme judges from being appointed. Please go back to Washington, D.C. and stop these radical, extreme justices from being appointed. That's it. I said it 3 times to make sure that everyone knows it. Okay? Now, the other thing I want to talk about is this. Now, Mike Davis in particular. Well, there's a website that I want you to also know, and this is his organization that he founded. And the website is Article, right? ARTICLE, 3, the number 3, not the word THREE, just the number 3, then the word project, PROJECT.org. So, article number 3, project.org. Article number 3, project.org. Article 3, project.org. I want you to go here, and you can donate to it if you want, but also you can find a lot of information. He's keeping us up to date with everything that is going on. And more importantly, it tells you a little bit about him and why I think he would be perfect for the Attorney General spot. Mike Davis, former Chief Counsel for Nominations to Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, is the founder and president of the Article 3 Project, A3P. A3P defends constitutional judges and the rule of law. He is also the founder and managing partner of MRD Law. Davis also leads the Internet Accountability Project, an advocacy organization fighting to rein in big tech, along with the Unsilenced Majority, an organization dedicated to opposing cancel culture and fighting back against the woke mob and their enablers. As Chief Counsel for Nominations, Davis advised Chairman Grassley and other senators on the confirmation of federal judges and senior executive branch appointees, serving as staff lead for 30 hearings and 41 markup meetings. He oversaw the floor votes for 278 nominees. Okay? So this is a guy who is got great experience, number one, but he's tenacious, he's vicious, He's the one that said he wants to put these people in jail. He said it himself. So I think he would be the absolute best choice. And he's young, he could serve, he could probably be there for a while, and he'll be very effective. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about was this. The Florida Senate seat. So Ron DeSantis has a bunch of choices to make to fill Rubio's seat. As I said in the very beginning of this video, what if he's had private conversations with Matt Gaetz? He might have. We don't know. Maybe Matt Gaetz decided that he didn't want to go through the mud wringing and the mudslinging and all this other stuff in this confirmation process and hurt President Trump in some capacity, right? Because he's, what, 54% approval now post-election? Maybe he didn't want to do that. And maybe, just maybe, he had a conversation with Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis said, look, if you withdraw from the nomination, they'll put somebody else in, I'll put you in the Senate. So Matt, we would still get Matt Gaetz as a senator. That's a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I'm not saying that I am privy to any conversations that may have taken place or may not have taken place. I'm just giving you my outside thinking here, okay? The other thing is Laura Trump, okay? This works two ways. What if Laura Trump, who has already said that she would love to be in the Senate, and she lives in Palm Beach County, Florida, right? What if he appointed Laura Trump into that position? Well, that works two ways, because now that opens up another person to run the RNC with Michael Whatley. Let me think for a second who that could be. I don't know. Perhaps maybe the woman that has had her Senate seat stolen and her governorship stolen in the state of Arizona? How about Carrie Lake at the RNC for the midterms? Maybe she can drain the Arizona swamp from that position. Oh, you don't want me to be your governor? You want to steal my governorship away and knock down 60% plus of machines on election day, and then mysterious votes show up for Gallego and he steals the race with Stephen Richer and the rest of the scumbags? How about her take Laura Trump's spot at the RNC, run it with Michael Whatley, then she can be the election integrity person and she can drain the swamp in the swing states. That's always a possibility too. Third, believe it or not, Ron DeSantis himself. He can appoint himself if he really wants to. He could look around and say, you know what? I want the seat. And then he could elevate his lieutenant governor to the governor, and he could become the senator for 2 years. That's a possibility too. But I don't like that one. Why? Because he's been such an effective governor for the state of Florida. It is no longer a swing state. It's like Idaho or Wyoming already. I mean, seriously, it's like it's so red. And just, 2 election cycles ago, it was a swing state that was only, like a 3 percentage point win for Trump? Now it was 14, 16 points, 17 points, whatever it was in the last election? So again, this is what I'm trying to say. He's done wonders for the state of Florida. He's been an effective governor. I want him to stay there and would much rather have somebody else. The other 2 people could be Ashley Moody, again, former Attorney General, and Pam Bondi, former Attorney General. So there are plenty of people that are MAGA, America First, that could run and win, be appointed into the Senate seat, and then win. Okay? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this. Everything that we are seeing right now is so much better and so much different than what we saw last time. Okay? That's number one. The other thing that I want to bring to your attention is the fact that President Trump has learned his lesson. He has learned his lesson from last time. Okay? And what is that lesson? Do not trust the deep state. Do not trust anything they say. Do not trust the people that are in it. Destroy those people instead. I want to read you an article. And this goes to the heart of what I am talking about and why I truly believe that this time around, President Trump's administration is not going to fall for the tricks of the deep state like they did last time. I'm going to put my glasses on for this. Trump ignores transition protocol and rules. This is from the Washington Posterior. It's, quote, a hostile takeover. Donald Trump's transition team has begun what close allies call a hostile takeover of the federal government. They are ignoring the rules for the handover of power in the process. Now remember, this is a Washington Post hit piece, but a lot of times I'll read a hit piece, and the hit piece, they don't even realize it is great for people that believe in liberty and limited government and want to see the destruction of the administrative state. 1,000 miles from the austere buildings where Washington runs, Donald Trump's transition team in his Mar-a-Lago resort has begun what a close ally calls a hostile takeover of the federal government. Since his victory, Trump has ignored many of the rules and practices intended to guide a, quote, seamless transfer of power and handover of the oversight of 2.2 million federal employees. Well, let's stop right there, okay? He has ignored the rules and practices. Thank God he has. Because when he was elected the first time, he didn't. And guess what happened? Spying, surveillance, moles, leaks, inside, sabotage. That's what happened last time. He's smart now. He understands who these people are, folks. Clearly he does. Then it says, handover of the oversight of 2.2 million federal employees. I got a little secret for you. Not for long. Not going to be 2.2 million for long. Look, 61% of Washington is what you would consider spending that is kind of like embedded, and it's really kind of hard to cut. But 26% or more is discretionary. And that discretionary spending is where Doge comes in. That is where they are going to attack. And if they can get rid of $2 trillion of spending, which is about 26% of the government, looking good, folks. Looking good. And then it says, instead, the president-elect, who has pledged to fire thousands of civil servants and slash billions of dollars in spending, has so far almost fully cut out the government agencies his predecessors have relied on to take charge of the federal government. He doesn't want to talk to them. He's not going to answer their phone calls. He's not going to answer their text messages, their emails, nothing. He's ignoring them. Last time he didn't know better. He didn't ignore them. And they set him up. And he still was successful. So imagine now not being set up how much more successful he can be. Where am I at? Every light. Trump has yet to collaborate with the General Services Administration. Let me translate what the General Services Administration is. The deep state. That's right, the administrative state. These evil, sinister people that want to undermine our republic. I will never, ever use the word democracy because it's not a democracy. They want to undermine our republic, which is tasked with the complex work of handing over control of hundreds of agencies because he has not turned in required pledges. I'm so sorry. He's not going to play ball with you idiots. Required pledges to follow ethics rules. His transition team has yet to set foot inside a single federal office. Well, why would we do that when we're going to close them down? In calls with foreign leaders and heads of state, best part yet, Trump has cut out the entire State Department. It's secure lines and its official interpreters. In other words, he's talking to these people around the globe, getting things set up, getting things ready, and usually you do that through secured lines in the State Department. I don't think so. Not anymore. We're not going to telepath what we're doing. We're not going to tell you what we're talking about. And these moronic idiots like Brennan and Clapper and the rest of them, and Weissman, who now is going to be in hot water, all these idiots that are running to CNN to talk about it, you shouldn't be running to anything. You should be lawyering up or leaving the country, okay? That's what you should be doing. As his team considers hundreds of potential appointees for key jobs. Remember, this is a hit piece from the Washington Post-Courier. He's so far declined to let the Federal Bureau of Investigation check for potential red flags and security threats to guard against espionage. Let me translate that to you. He has refused and declined to let the corrupt scumbags that run the FBI into his thought process, and more importantly, to go through his nominees. Because, they want to not set them up or entrap them a la Michael Flynn. Instead, relying on private campaign lawyers for some appointees and doing no vetting at all for others. Trump's transition team is considering moving on his first day in office to give those appointees blanket security clearances, according to people familiar with the discussions who spoke on the condition of anonymity to disclose private conversations. So once again, it ain't button tight, okay? This is a ship that's got a few leaks in it. Is it like it was? Was it the Titanic of 2016? No, not even close. But there are some, clearly, because it says it right here, according to discussions with people familiar with the conditions and speaking on the condition of anonymity to disclose private conversations. He has leakers. He has leakers. That is unfortunate. At the root of this unprecedented approach, say those close to Trump's transition team, is an abiding distrust and resentment of federal agencies that the president-elect blames for blocking his agenda in his first term, leaking his plans to the press, and later sharing his documents with investigators who then brought criminal charges against him. Thank God President Trump is intelligent enough to say, not making the same mistake twice, okay? Folks, you should be ecstatic. You should be doing front cartwheels and backflips at this information, okay? Trust me, things are going to be a lot different this time. For Trump, who campaigned on radically reshaping the federal government by moving entire departments out of Washington or just closing them down completely and replacing scores of civil servants with political loyalists, fulfillment of that vision begins with a privately run transition team from Palm Beach and nearby offices. The American people rendered their verdict by putting him back in the White House, said Mike Davis, president of the Article 3 Project, a nonprofit group that has defended Trump against the criminal charges brought against him. He should not trust the politicized and weaponized intelligence and law enforcement agencies that hobbled his presidency the first time. It is a hostile takeover on behalf of the American people. In choosing his cabinet, Trump has emphasized a willingness to take on federal agencies he believes have wronged him or stymied him in the past, advisors said. That has motivated many of his controversial picks, such as Fox News host Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense, former Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida for Attorney General, and South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem to lead the Department of Homeland Security. Brian Hughes, a transition spokesperson, said in an email that the president-elect might yet adopt some more traditional measures. The Trump-Vance transition lawyers continue to constructively engage with the Biden-Harris administration lawyers regarding some agreements contemplated by the Presidential Transition Act. We will update you once a decision is made. Many of the president-elect's moves to skirt official transition policies are within the law, experts say, and are subject to laws that are not regularly enforced. But his transition alarms some officials who say the president-elect is weakening transparency, eroding checks and balances, and risking national security. Yeah, their national security. That's why they're worried, okay? That's why they're worried. So, relax, okay? I have a great feeling that things are going to be a lot different this time around. But I will leave you with this. Please, USA.gov, USA.gov, USA.gov. Get on it, find your senator, call your senator, and tell them, get your asses back to D.C. and block these radical extreme nominees. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.